Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss books and horror. And today I have a very special video for you because I'm here to talk about Yalc, and I'm here to talk about all the books that I am intending to hopefully read before November.
It's coffee time!
Obviously, you guys in the booktube community are probably familiar with Yalc, and it is a young adult convention that takes place every year in the UK, and they invite a bunch of authors, YA authors, and there are publishers there. They do signings and there's also panels, and it is a lot of fun. It's also an excuse to meet people from the booktube community, sometimes for the very first time, and it's also a great excuse to buy more books because we need excuses to buy books, right? Mallory Blackman is actually the woman that started this whole thing back in 2014 as one of her kind of like projects, and she wanted to get young people to read more, and it is amazing how this has evolved through the years and it has become such a popular event. It happens every year together with the London Comic Con. Normally it is during the summer edition, so around July, but this year they had to move it to November. I believe there are some renovations that were still going on in the Olympia, which is where it takes place, because last year they had to kind of relocate Yalc and do it in a different section from the Comic-Con that was not as cozy, as inviting, as nice as it used to be. But I still had a blast, so I understand the executive decision to push it to November so that we can have a nicer Yalc experience. I was able to change my train tickets from July to November, which I'm really happy about, and we were also able to change our hotel. So I will be attending Yalc this year, obviously, and I am so excited and so pumped to see everybody again, to get books, obviously, to see a little bit more of London again, and I always have a blast. So I decided that I would take a look, as I did last year, to the list of authors that have been invited. I would check what books they have out, what books I have read by them, and decide which books I would like to read before going to Yalc, and then get the book signed by the author. Last year I didn't really have much time to read books beforehand, so I just bought a bunch of books that I have never read, and it was also a great experience. But I feel like I would like to attempt to read as many books as I can from the authors that are gonna be there, so that I am more prepared, I guess, for the experience and meeting the authors. Because last year I met Jonathan Stroud and I bought the Lockwood & Co. books, but I still didn't know if I was gonna love them. And it turns out I do. I absolutely love them. But, you know, maybe it would have been nicer if I would have already read the books before I met him. I don't know, I think it's a very different feeling. So this year I'm gonna try my best to read as many books by the authors that I want to meet as I can. So Yalc is going to take place on the 11th to the 12th of November. It's a 2-day full of signings and panels and book shopping. If any of you guys is going to be there, let me know. Let's connect. If you see me there, I'm hard to miss. I'm always the oldest person in the room. Just kidding, kind of, apart from the authors. But it is a young adult convention, so of course you're gonna expect people there to be in their early 20s, and those times are gone for me. But jokes aside, I had such a good time, and I met for the first time Amy McCall in person and had a blast talking to her. And I met Cynthia Murphy. I love her books. I just met so many amazing people, and I am excited to go back this year and see you all again. Now let's go and talk about the books that I am planning to try to read before the convention. The first one is How to Die Famous by Benjamin Dean. I did meet him last year because he was already there, but I would like to read his new release from 2023 before I meet him again, and then get that one signed. We follow a character that is a young actor making his way through Hollywood, but he has a secret identity. He is actually a journalist that is trying to expose what goes on in Hollywood for real. This sounds like a lot of drama, and I'm here for it. I love books that include movie making and Hollywood and all of that. I feel like that is because of my love for movies, and I always love to see the industry mixed up in my books. And of course, our main character is going to discover that there is drama, there is scandals, but there's also murder. And that's where I'm like, yes please. And I'm really excited about this one. I know that Benjamin Dean writes his books with a little bit of, humor in them, and that is something that I do enjoy here and there, because I tend to read also a lot of more serious horror and thrillers, and sometimes it's nice to read a little bit something more lighthearted. Next we have Murder on a School Night by Kate Weston. And first of all, the title sold me. It sounds like another fun mystery thriller, and also the cover is great. I've never read anything by the author, so I am excited to try it out. This is a murder mystery rom-com. It is written by a comedian, so obviously there's gonna be humor in it, and it is a book that talks about how social media sometimes turns deadly. Specifically, it addresses bullying in social media, so I'm just gonna mention it as a possible trigger warning for you guys. So this is a quite modern concept. Not long ago, I did a video on social media in horror, so this is gonna be a new one to add to that list. The next one I am extremely excited about, and it is The Changing Man by Tomi Ayemakinde. And the cover of this one already sold me. I think I saw it somewhere on Twitter a long time ago being announced, and I'm like, yes please, and I put it already on my list of books to read anyway. So I was really pleased to see the author was coming to Yalc, so I can read the book and I can meet him, and yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Our main character comes from a struggling family when it comes to money, but they got a scholarship to attend a very expensive boarding school. And so we have a character that is feeling a little bit out of place, but it's really determined to prove their worth, and it's determined to show that they can adapt to a high standard boarding school. Then our main character realizes that some of the students are starting to act weird, and she starts to learn about a legend, an urban legend, something that they call the Changing Man. So I am a sucker for books that have the word man in them, the Whisper Man, the Changing Man, all of these things, Slender Man. Everything, just give it to me. Because they all tend to be about some sort of urban legend, some sort of like a real person that died and now it's coming back and it's haunting the town that did something to them, like Nightmare on Elm Street. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. The next one is If I Have to Be Hunted by San Miranda, and this one sounded really interesting to me because it is potentially a book that touches on the paranormal, but it is a book that has a very different tone from the books that I normally read, so this is why I put it on my list. Sometimes it's good to go to these events and either buy or read books by authors that you didn't know, or books that you might have not picked in the first place, but they might end up surprising you. Kara has an overbearing mother that is telling her she needs to be this perfect Chinese American daughter, and part of that is that she needs to suppress and she needs to lie and hide because she's actually able to talk to the dead, to the ghost, and so her mother wants her to completely shut down that aspect about herself. I believe there's also a love interest, and she's gonna be talking to ghosts, probably trying to figure out how somebody died, and I'm guessing this is going to be a paranormal book, but more on the drama romantic side of things, I'm guessing, more than in the horror aspect. but I'm still intrigued to try this one. The next one doesn't need much introduction. Is 12 Bones by Rosie Talbot. This is the second book after 16 Souls. I believe everybody knows these books by now, and Rosie is someone that I met actually for the first time last year at Yalc when her book was not out yet, and she is such a lovely person, and she's also often in Amy's reading sprints. So if you have never tried 16 Souls, you have to. It is queer, it has ghosts, it's paranormal, it's amazing. Try it out. So I will patiently wait for the second book to be released and read it before I go so that I can get my books signed by her as well. The next one is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. So most of the authors have books coming out before Yalc. This one is already out and it's one that I had on my radar anyway, so perfect excuse to pick it up and read it, because this is a book that reminded me of, you know, typical situation where you have a bunch of friends and somebody's targeting them and somebody has a dark secret. We have 6 friends that are in a road trip inside of an RV, and at some point they are trapped inside of this vehicle, and there is a sniper outside that is targeting them, and they're being targeted because one of them has a very dark secret. So we're gonna have to figure out what's going on, why are they being targeted by the sniper, what is the secret. I love those type of mysteries. I'm all here for it. And it sounds quite terrifying to be trapped with your friends in a vehicle and then have a sniper that could end your life at any minute. You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. I recently got this book in the mail because it just came out, and it's gonna be great, I'm sure, because it sounds fantastic. It's about this girl that plays in a theater play at summer camp, and her character is a final girl. So the thing is, at some point there is a killer on the loose in this camp, and she's gonna have to figure out if she has what it takes to be a real actual final girl or not. I'm really excited about this one. I love the final girl trope, and yeah, I'm really excited to read it and then get to meet the author. Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I have heard really good things about these books, and I know she has a lot of fans of the books, and I never really read them, so I always thought, you know, maybe they're not for me, I'm not sure. But since the author is coming to Yalc, I think I'm gonna give the first book a shot and see if I like it. I know it's kind of like a murder mystery that is being investigated and solved, and that seems to be something that I do enjoy, but for some reason I've always been a little bit hesitant to pick these ones up, and I feel like at least I should give, you know, the books a chance and read the first one and see. I believe we're also in some sort of like boarding school or elite school, and somebody was kidnapped and died some time ago, and the murder was never solved, so there's always been a mystery around it, and I think one of the new students is trying to solve that older mystery. I believe that's what it's about, at least the first book. Let me know down below what you thought about the books. Do you think they're getting better and better? What is your take on the books if you read them? I will be really interested to know. All That's Left in the World by Eric J. Brown, and this is a book that I actually got for my Kindle. I bought this some time ago, I don't know if it was last year, and I still haven't read it. So I was like, perfect time. This is a sign that I need to get to the book, because it does sound fantastic. It is one of those queer post-apocalyptic books, and I'm here for it. We are in a post-apocalyptic world where a pathogen has killed the majority of the population. So we have the survivors, and apparently 2 boys meet, and probably they're gonna start a romance. I know this is a post-apocalyptic queer romance, and it is a debut novel by the author, and it's one that I've always been really intrigued about because I do love post-apocalyptic stories. Still today, I know they have been overdone, but I still enjoy them. We all just want to see the world end and see what's the possible scenarios that will happen after that. So this is one that I'm really excited about. Broken Hearts and Zombie Parts by William Hussey. And this is a book that I actually bought right before the authors for Yalc were announced, and then I'm like, this is destiny. I was destined to read this book. And I already started reading it in the month of June for Pride Month, and so far I'm really loving it. It is a book about a guy that all he wants is to do his zombie movie as a project so that he can apply for cinema school. He also wants to have a boyfriend, and he also is currently struggling with his health, so he wants to do the best out of his summer. And it is very heartwarming, but it has a lot of comedy in it, and it is quite sweet. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm not that far into the book, maybe 100 pages or so, but so far I'm really loving it, so I'm really excited to meet the author at Yalc. Next we have Wise Creatures by Deidre Sullivan, and I mean, look at this cover. I love it. So I already met her last year, but since she's coming up with a new book that sounds absolutely amazing, I would like to get this one and read it before I go. Now, some of these books are going to be published in October, which means that I don't know if I'm going to be able to read them before the convention for several reasons. First, I don't know if I'm going to have time to get to them all if they come so late. And second, I kind of depend on Amazon delivering their stuff on time, which is also a struggle sometimes when you do pre-orders. But last year I got Perfectly Preventable Deaths and the second book after that one signed by her. She's lovely, and I would like to return with this book to get it signed because it also looks and sounds great. We always assume that hunting starts with houses, places are hunted, but no, it actually starts with people. We followed Daisy that when she was 6, she was a child psychic, and she was able to hear things, whispering things to her through the walls. So I'm already sold. Anything to do with haunted houses, children with some sort of supernatural powers or able to communicate with the world of the dead, stuff like that, I'm sold. And the last one is actually a middle grade horror. And the author that's coming is Yvette Fielding, and last year, actually when I was at Yalc, I bought the first book in her series, the Ghost Hunter series. I bought it there at Yalc because it was a spooky middle grade, and I was like, perfect, let me grab that. And I still have not read it. I know, shame on me. So because the third book is already coming out, I would like to read the 3 books that are out before I go and meet her. This is the first book, the one that I got last year there, and it's called The House in the Woods. And what I know is these kids went to this abandoned house on Halloween night, and they decided to play with a Ouija board, and I was like, excuse me. So I was kind of planning to read these for a Halloween, and I forgot last year, as one does when you have so many books. So hopefully maybe this year for October I could read the 3 books and be caught up for Yalc. They are not really chunky, so hopefully I will be able to read the 3 of them. So there you have it, you guys. Those are the 12 books by the 12 authors that are gonna attend Yalc that I would like to read before my trip. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna manage to read all of them, but I will try my best. If not, I will still probably purchase the books there and get them signed by the authors and read them afterwards. And now, there are so many other great authors that are gonna be there, but their books are more of genres that I normally don't really gravitate towards. Like, there's a lot of fantasy and some books that sound absolutely amazing with great covers. There are also romantic books, there is contemporary, there's anything you can imagine for everybody. So I try to focus on books that are a little bit more down my alley, because those are the ones that I will probably, you know, choose in the future to read. It is so tempting when you're there to buy absolutely anything because the stories sound amazing, the covers are amazing, and it's great, but I am trying to focus on more thriller, kind of horror, more kind of books that fit my, you know, my preferred genres. I have nothing against fantasy or romantic books. I read them sometimes as well. Alright guys, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you are anticipating any of these books, if you are excited about any of these new releases, because in a way these are new releases for the majority of them. There are still books that I have not come out yet. So let me know down below if you're also attending Yalc and all of that, because I would love to meet as many people as I can from the community when I'm there. I mostly spend my time at Yalc alone because my partner just goes to the Comic-Con and spends his day there doing his thing, and I spend the day at the Yalc. So I'm always looking for company there to talk about books, about life, horror, whatever you want. So let me know, guys, if you're gonna be there. Thank you as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye.